Right.
years ago, like 3 years ago. We were literally having dinner, and he said, "Man, I've seen the craziest game, bro." He goes, "One time I was chilling, and I got a call that Puff wanted me to come over. This is all allegedly. He says 3 years ago, wanted me to come over, pull up. I pulled up, and he wanted me to like play with Cassie's, seeing this, that."
The most beautiful empires never collapse quietly. They explode. And that's exactly what's happening now, because someone finally whispered what Stevie J has been protecting, and Jason Lee just struck the match. Jason just revealed what Stevie J has been hiding about Diddy, a story that traces back to his time at Revolt TV, when he was still attending Diddy's birthday parties and moving comfortably in that world. But the real story, the part that matters, starts 3 years before all the lawsuits and police raids. Jason was at a fancy New York dinner when a friend of his, a male model, dropped a bombshell. He claimed Diddy had set up a situation with him and his then-girlfriend, Cassie, and that it was filmed. Picture that moment. Your friend tells you something so wild, so dark. What do? Jason did what most people do in those rooms. He did nothing. He brushed it off. He figured the guy was lying, chasing clout, or just spinning a crazy story. Why? Because Diddy's world was dazzling, untouchable. Private jets, velvet ropes, bodyguards. Stories like that felt impossible to believe. But disbelief doesn't last forever. Fast forward to November 2023. Cassie filed a bombshell lawsuit detailing years of alleged abuse. By March 2024, federal agents in guns and bulletproof vests raided Diddy's massive mansions in LA and Miami. Then came the hotel surveillance video. Diddy in nothing but a towel, chasing Cassie down a hallway, throwing and kicking her. That dinner confession is the kind of story that sticks. When someone sits at the top, surrounded by untouchable power, the air itself feels unreal. So when that model leaned in with the nightmare, Jason did what many do. He blinked, forced a laugh, and tossed it into the mental trash. No way, not him, not that. But the universe has a petty streak. It waits, it lets you dismiss it, and then it shoves the receipts right into your face, so hard you choke on your own disbelief.
Let me just set the scene. His kids and family, mom, and everybody is sitting in the courtroom as people were talking about how they got peed on. Despite Daniel's claims, Cassie later detested the urination acts, testifying, "I didn't want it. It was disgusting. It was too much. I choked. No one could think I wanted it. It was obvious I didn't want to be on the ground being urinated on by two men."
Denial only works until the evidence shows up with teeth. Because once Cassie's lawsuit landed, once the raids hit the headlines, once that hotel footage stopped being rumor and became undeniable, that crazy dinner story didn't feel like a clout chase anymore. It felt like a warning that had been ignored. Now picture Jason's mind replaying that night like a broken security tape. The fine plates, the city glow, the casual way the model said it, like it was just another Hollywood horror you're not supposed to repeat out loud. And then the guilt sets in, heavy, nasty, the kind that makes you realize you didn't just ignore gossip, you ignored a flare gun. So Jason did what most people never do. He doubled back. He went looking for the person he dismissed, not for content, not for a quote, for accountability. "I owe you an apology. I didn't listen. I dismissed you, and I was wrong." And that's the moment the story shifts. Because the model wasn't the only one, and that's how it stays hidden, not through one lie, but through a system of silence. Jason said it out loud because silence is how powerful people stay untouchable. And that's where this stops being a scandal and starts looking like infrastructure. Here's the part nobody says plainly enough. People don't stay loyal for decades just because of friendship. They stay loyal because loyalty is insured by secrets, by leverage, by mutual destruction, by an invisible contract that says, if I fall, you fall with me. That's when Jason started hearing the same name over and over, not shouted, whispered, carefully quiet. And that matters because that apology wasn't small, it cracked a seal. What people are now connecting and what may explain Stevie J's unwavering loyalty isn't affection, it's a code. Think of it like the no snitching rule from the street, but scaled up for elite rooms. In those circles, it's allegedly known as the silent code. See nothing, hear nothing, say nothing. From that point on, the question isn't why people stayed quiet. It's how many knew and how long the silence was enforced.
When he said it, I really thought he was just crazy being a clout chaser.
That's his thing, though.
And then full circle, I had to call him. I went back to New York for something. I pulled up on him and I said, I'm sorry. Because
you have to understand what bone-deep loyalty actually looks like in rooms like that. Because Stevie J isn't just standing beside Diddy out of habit or nostalgia. This isn't about music credits, old memories, or brotherhood in the sentimental sense. This is about proximity, about being present long enough to see things most people never get access to, and knowing exactly which parts of that access can never be spoken out loud. That's why the silent code matters so much here. People keep asking, how could anyone still defend him after that video? But that question assumes loyalty is powered by belief. In reality, it's powered by consequence. Stevie J is the definition of embedded. He's not orbiting the sun, he's inside the system, decades deep. Before revolt, before lawsuits, before PR teams and crisis management. He's the kind of person who doesn't need to explain why he's loyal, because explaining itself would already be a breach. And notice this, Stevie doesn't overtalk, he doesn't ramble, he doesn't freestyle excuses. Every word is measured, every appearance is controlled. That's not a coincidence, that's discipline, the kind that comes from knowing exactly where the lines are and never stepping near them. When the Cassie video dropped, the world recoiled. Public opinion flipped overnight. People distanced themselves fast. Statements were walked back. Silence became strategic. And in moments like that, who stays close tells you more than who runs. Stevie didn't flinch. That's why his loyalty stands out, not because it's loud, but because it's unbreakable. And unbreakable loyalty rarely comes from love alone. It comes from a shared history that cannot survive daylight, from being present at moments that, if exposed, wouldn't just ruin one person, it would collapse a whole network of narratives. So when people say ride or die, they usually mean it figuratively. Here, it sounds a lot more literal. Jason didn't have to hear Stevie confess anything. He didn't need a smoking gun. All he had to do was watch the behavior. Who stays quiet, who never contradicts, who never accidentally slips, who understands instinctively when to speak and when to disappear. That's when it clicks. This isn't blind loyalty, it's insured loyalty. And once you see that, the story stops being about one man's alleged actions and starts being about the ecosystem that protected them. The dinners, the parties, the silence, the people who heard things early, dismissed them, and then spent years hoping the universe wouldn't circle back with receipts. But the universe always circles back. And when it does, the people bound by the silent code don't scramble, they lock in. Because breaking silence doesn't just end friendships in those circles, it ends protection. That's the part most outsiders don't understand. And that's why Stevie J isn't just a name in the background. He's a symbol of how long something can last when everyone agrees not to say what they saw. And once that agreement starts cracking, it doesn't shatter quietly.
Whatever someone does in their bedroom, that's what they do. I don't got nothing to do with that. I'm just here to say that I've never seen my man doing anything foul like they talking about.
None of it. All of it. I mean, you know.
I've never seen it. I've known him for 29.
Down here at Pura Vida by my pad, run into the man right here. Love. What's up? Miami's like that. Yeah. It's a movie.
Would Stevie risk everything to defend a man when the world is screaming at him to step back? Because in rooms like that, it's never about what's obvious, it's about what's ensured. Stevie isn't just protecting Diddy because of friendship or nostalgia. He's protecting the code, the leverage, the invisible contract that says what happens in this circle stays in this circle, or everyone falls. Back when Diddy wasn't a headline, he was gravity. Proximity to him meant proximity to influence, opportunity, and survival. You didn't just gain from it, you were bound by it. Every joke, every secret, every private moment was part of the ecosystem. And Stevie learned early, loyalty in this ecosystem isn't optional. So when the Cassie footage went public, everyone else ran. But Stevie, he didn't hesitate. He doubled down. Because in that world, silence isn't just safety, it's currency. And speaking out carelessly can collapse empires. Now Jason's realizing something crucial. The loyalty you see in people like Stevie isn't sentimental, it's structural, it's survival. And once you understand that, you see why even when the world turns against Diddy, some people don't blink. They shield, they endure, they enforce the silent code. That's the lesson most outsiders miss. In those circles, loyalty isn't about heart. It's about holding the line when the stakes are nuclear. And only those who truly understand the rules can survive without getting burned.
You said that Diddy was on a lot of when this happened.
I kind of figured that based off just him having
Okay.
conversations with me about the whole scenario of what went down.
Well, you said when you saw the video, it really threw me. But after I saw the video, I went and saw him in Miami. We had a conversation. I let him know how affected you were by that. You know, I didn't know he had.
Exactly. That's the part that makes this story more than gossip. It's a blueprint for power in these circles. Stevie J's silence isn't absence, it's surveillance, it's control. It's knowing that a single word in the wrong room can collapse decades of influence, money, and reputation. The reason he stands so firmly by Diddy isn't just loyalty, it's insurance. He knows the receipts, he's seen the moments, he understands the rules of the game, and the world doesn't. For outsiders, it looks like devotion. For insiders, it's survival and maybe dominance. Jason's revelation is chilling because it flips the lens. The power isn't just who's at the top, it's who knows the invisible network of secrets underneath and who can navigate it without losing their head. Stevie J is at the center of that network, quiet, controlled, untouchable, because he's the keeper of everything people wish they could ignore. And the lawsuits, the videos, the headlines, they're just the surface. The real game is in what isn't said, what isn't filmed, what isn't reported. That's where loyalty becomes terrifying and silence becomes the ultimate weapon.